Toya, wherever you are and whatever time it is, I hope you are enjoying yourself. I am back to do part 2 of Let's Finish This Sketchbook. You can hear the fan on. Sorry, but it's just like I'm really hot up here because my family likes to turn on the heat whenever it gets a little bit cold and it results in me toasting alive. So yeah, it's just to mitigate me sweating all over the place. But I'm back and I have tea again. I think this is a black tea. It's like a honey apricot something, apple apricot. I don't know, but it's really good. Is it controversial to be drinking really hot tea whenever you already just complained about being toasted? Yes, but aside from that, I also have these cookies. You know, we're really preparing to dive into this. If you didn't see the video before this, I'm essentially trying to fill out my sketchbook, and I first started out by doing the last 4 pages, technically the last 4 pages, in doing all the line art for them, and this time I'm going to be coloring them in as if I'm doing like some kind of coloring book. First, we have my Ohuhu set of pastel markers, and then we have a set that I got in Japan of Copic markers, and I'll probably do a separate video on these, but they're a lot newer, and I already very much enjoy them. And then we have a giant beast of alcohol markers, which is all from Sanjoki. Yeah, so I've done a video on both these and the Ohuhu markers if you'd like to check them out. So yeah, that's the supplies that I'll likely be using. Anything else I'll probably just put in the description, but yeah, I will be filling out these 4 pages, and then of course we will get to the final page as the last video of this little series. If you don't include the sketchbook tour, that's obviously gonna have to come with it. Snacks ready, supplies here. I guess we are just going to go get into it, so I will see you. Hello, it is voiceover Rhea here to accompany you in this once again montage of me coloring out sketchbook spreads, and we are indeed in sped up time because of course if we're doing like 4 spreads it has to be sped up unless y'all want it to be here for the next 3+ hours. But yes, hi. So, at first I was worried that the mood was gonna be kind of dull or more on the negative side, because most of the spreads that I color in this video I don't feel great about, but I forgot about this spread because I actually filmed it in a different session. I actually really like how this one turned out, and it turned out far superior to the others in my opinion, but more about that in a bit because I need to state some general things first. So first of all, let me just come out and say there's a lot of me just giving up. I just gave up, you know. A lot of me finishing this sketchbook is me giving up on my expectations, on my true potential, and I'm just not putting in the effort that I would normally put in a sketchbook, and this is for several reasons. So like the first reason is because I don't like this sketchbook paper. I've said this multiple times. I don't enjoy it. It does not vibe with me. Like ever since I first I think on the very first like video I did of me like coloring the page, I didn't like the way that the page interacted with the markers. Basically it feels like the marker, like the marker ink or whatever, it just sits on top of the page. It feels like it's not really intertwined with anything. It doesn't even really interact the way that I want it to whenever it blends. It's not a fun time. And sure, like I'm not saying like it's entirely the page's fault. I definitely think it would help me if I knew more about how to work with alcohol markers, and I will. That's the second reason, but paper affects a lot whenever it comes to using art supplies, and especially for I mean some mediums more than others, like especially watercolor, but for alcohol markers too in this case, I think I would very much prefer to just use like regular even like mixed media paper would be fine, even though I know you're not technically supposed to use alcohol markers with that if you want your markers to have a longer lifespan, because the texture of the paper and the thickness will like zap up all the pigment. But even then, you know, I just feel like it works a lot better than whatever this paper is giving me. It is definitely not a dig at Cresent and their Rendr sketchbooks or anything like that. I personally just don't enjoy using this, and honestly, if I really thought about it, I should have just, you know, like with the very first interaction that I had, I should have been like, oh, you know, I'm not really liking this paper, and then maybe just donate that sketchbook to someone else instead of making myself go through like a whole sketchbook of like paper quality that I didn't get along with well. That's just one of those things that I guess hindsight is 2020. I probably wasn't really thinking too hard about it. Not to mention the feature of being able to draw with alcohol markers and have it not bleed on the back. I probably thought it was so compelling that I just tried to ignore that factor, but realistically, I don't think it matters if it bleeds or not if I don't get along with the paper for the materials that I mostly use. Also, random side note, sorry if my voice sounds very like scratchy or like rough. I've been going through a lot of random things, so hopefully it doesn't sound too bad, but I probably should have made a cup of tea with like honey in it before I started doing this voiceover, but alas. Okay, reason number 2 why I'm giving up, starring me. The alcohol markers, like I said, even though they're like one of my go-tos for coloring stuff traditionally, I have not used them consistently enough to fully say that I grasp the best way to use them, or at least even the way that I like to use them. So, you know, there's still a lot that I have to figure out on that end, and I just haven't had the time to really dive into it and explore the best, like all the different methods that you can use to color things with brush markers. There's just so many different looks you can get, and I feel like I still have much to learn on that aspect. And then the third reason, which is one that I feel like I've said in the previous video, but a lot of what I am coloring in the sketchbook are like older drawings, or it's like it's not the quality that I'd like it to be. So I mean, that's another thing. I just, you know, it's like because I've had this sketchbook for so long, there's some areas where it's like I know my skills have improved, and it feels really weird to reapproach that, and I don't really think it's something that I could reapproach with like 100% of my like best performance, if that makes sense. Which leads me to the final reason of my forfeiting, my giving up. I simply want this thing to be done. I am tired of this sketchbook. I want it out of my sight. I need to go. I need for this to leave. I'm ready to put this to bed. It has been going on for so freaking long. And yeah, I just can't do it. I feel like whenever you're at that point, it's just anything goes. Would you like for things to not look horrible? Yes, but in this case, you know, you can only do so much when you're at your wit's end, so alas, it's leading to my madness, my downfall. But going insane aside, the good news is I genuinely like this first spread a lot. I am not really sure, I mean, I like the concept, bunch of baddies, like girl gang energy, very fun, but I also feel like I took more time with this one. Because like I said, I filmed this one completely different from the rest, and I don't even remember when I filmed this actually, but I took more time with it in terms of like thinking about potential colors and trying to work with the blending a little bit more. Like you can see, I genuinely try to layer and blend a little bit on the colors, and it kind of sort of works. I am using Copic markers, as you can see, for I think a lot of this spread. Yeah, I think this is the main time that I use them, oddly enough, because I think even though I showed them at the beginning of the video, I don't think I use them as much on other spreads, because at least not that little set that I bought. I do already have some Copic markers, but I've never had a full set of them because they're obviously expensive. But I would always get some here and there, so I've built up a couple. But I don't really use that set after this after this spread. But using them on this spread was still nice. I felt like, I don't know, I feel like I enjoy all the alcohol markers that I have, and once again, I don't want to fully make any major decisions about any of them until I, one, understand how to use alcohol markers a little bit more, but two, whenever I get away from this paper that I do not enjoy. So yeah, I just spent more time on it and things like that, and that's another thing, like what kind of headspace I'm in. Obviously that can matter a lot whenever it comes to art and art performance. I was probably a little bit more relaxed here. Like, yes, every time when I have a camera on me and I'm recording my art, I'm always like, it's never gonna be the same as if I weren't filming, but I do have moments where I'm a lot more like relaxed than others because, like I said, with this spread, I felt like I was a little bit more like taking things at my own pace while also trying to get stuff done. But after this, I'm like rushing. Like I'm just trying to I'm just trying to make it through, and it shows. And it's like there's nothing wrong with drawing fast, I guess, but drawing fast because you're in a panic or because you simply want to get something over with, you obviously are going to neglect things compared to if you were just, I don't know, if you're just naturally a fast drawer but you're still enjoying the process. Because I thrive best whenever I reach that moment of bliss where I'm drawing and I feel really engaged into what I'm drawing, and I just feel like I'm in the zone and I can focus on everything. I like that feeling a lot, but that feeling does not really happen with the spreads that I fill out, aside from this one. I feel like this one I genuinely enjoyed. And another thing is I really like the characters that I end up creating because these are all kind of just on the spot. I don't always draw just my OCs. A lot of times I end up just drawing a character that I think of on the spot, and sometimes if I really like their design then they end up becoming an OC, and that happens a lot. But yeah, no, I think that I really like how these characters turned out for such a abrupt, like spontaneous character design. I think they're really like fun, cool. It's very enjoyable. While I'd like to draw them again, they'll probably be like aesthetic OCs, which means like, yes, I draw them, but they don't really have they might not have a story or name or anything like that. I just like the way that they look, so I want to keep using their design until I decide to maybe upgrade them into like an official OC or something. I mean, they're all official, but you know what I mean. There's a difference between whenever you have an actual story built versus characters that you just like to draw because you think that they're cute. And I think having both is very fun. And you can build a story at any time. You can always like change things up if you want to. I feel like oftentimes I get shy to share information about my OCs because I feel like I never know what's going to change with them, but I feel like until you are making like a webcomic or, you know, like a book or something more solidified, it's fine if your characters are changing because I feel like that only makes sense, you know? I feel like a lot of people change stuff about their OCs, like not just in the beginning process when you're still trying to flesh out what you want the character to be like, but also, you know, for people that have had older OCs, like maybe OCs that you started whenever you first started art, and you were like maybe in middle school or things like that, they're probably going to change a lot more whenever you're like in your 20s or things like that because you've gotten older and you have different tastes, and you know, you might even have like more expertise in world building or story building and things like that. So I feel like it's only natural for your original characters to change as time goes on, and I feel like you shouldn't really be afraid of making those changes. And that's mostly just me trying to reassure myself. But yeah, all these spreads you guys will be able to see whenever I get to do this sketchbook tour in January. And yeah, I don't, like in this process, some spreads I've actually touched up a little bit more. But some I'm still debating on if I want to do that before I go to show the tour, because I don't know. I feel like on one hand, it would be nice to go back in and do that, and especially if I'm doing it off camera, so there's no like intense pressure on making it look a certain way or doing things a certain way. but at the same time, I'm kind of like burnt out. Like, I think that's what it is. I think it's like a burnout from, like, specifically with a sketchbook. That's what I feel. I feel like even if I could touch things up more, I feel very much like I just want to let it go. And, you know, if people think that that represents my entirety, then so be it. But you can only do so much at some point, and I think that's something that I need to remind myself in these moments where I'm feeling like the struggle of like, I don't know if this is adequate enough, and I know I could push it more, I just don't have the energy in me. Yeah. That being said, once again, really enjoyed this spread, especially, like, I think it'll look pretty cool. Like, it'll probably be one of my favorite spreads whenever I go to do the tour, so, but we'll see, I don't know. Honestly, I'm kind of screwed because, like, I know with doing the last video's voiceover, like the one for whenever I did the line art, I was like, oh wow, you know, what do you know, the time just went by and I was able to talk all this time. But this time around, we're only 16 minutes in and I don't even know what, you know, like, it'd be one thing if each spread was like, if I was already on the next spread, but right now I'm just kind of like, you know, I've already talked about a lot about this spread, and there's just, I don't know, I feel very airheaded right now too. I did end up making some more, I did end up getting some tea, and I baked some cookies. Not like the actual kind that you can like bake from scratch, but like the kind that you just put in the oven when they're already frozen. But it kind of helped me, you know, lift my mood up a little bit more. I want to be more, I want to do these voiceovers more properly. Like, and another thing is, okay, so I have also, this is a very chaotic time for me right now. It's currently the 29th, the afternoon on the 29th. Oh, we're starting the next spread. Okay, I'll get to that in a second. But the way that I'm recording and editing and doing all these things, yesterday I recorded the final spread. I recorded that video. It was very chaotic. This is why I try not to do things in real time, like while talking, because oh my gosh, it was just so stressful. It felt like anytime, like I got interrupted so many times, I just could not. I was losing my mind. So look forward to that. My goal is to try to schedule that on New Year's Eve and try to get this current video either out today or out tomorrow by the time I'm done editing it. But I'm bringing that up because since I filmed like that video yesterday and I still have to edit it and I'm filming this voiceover right now, I'm like trying to figure out how to not reiterate things because I talk all over the place and I don't want to say the same things over and over again. But one thing that I did want to work on going forward is definitely, I don't know, just having more proper voiceovers and more proper, just a proper video experience, if that makes sense. But yes, now that we are on the next spread, as I've probably already talked about it a little bit before whenever I was doing the line art in the other video, these are 3 of my OCs. I am drawing them in like a fun punk aesthetic. Is that what I went with? I think so. That was actually something that I think this was supposed to be its own video actually, like long ago. I was like, oh, this would be like a cool, like fun mini series to start where I draw my OCs. Like it could be like an OC dress up where I draw my OCs in like a completely different style that they might not usually go for, or maybe it just like a style that I haven't tried out on them yet, but they dress up in like a certain aesthetic, like punk or emo or like dark academia, things like that. I thought that would be really fun, especially since I love fashion and I love different aesthetics. So and my OCs are like my precious children, so I think it's really cute to dress them up as well. So yeah, I thought that could be like a fun mini series, but I never got around to it. So now here we are. Kind of looks like hot garbage because I didn't feel the dedication into it. And so yeah, I'm wondering if I should give this a digital reattempt. You know, maybe it could be, I mean, it could be like a digital and traditional series where it's like I sometimes do the like drawings digitally and sometimes I do it traditionally, but I don't know. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that kind of thing. Maybe I could even, like, instead of doing OCs, I could do fan art as well, but I think it's just like a fun way to explore different visuals and different looks, since I feel like that's a lot bigger of a thing even more than back then, because yeah, I mean, we have Pinterest now, so there's so many different styles that we can look up. It's really fascinating. I think I went into using the Sanjoki markers a lot around this point. Like I said, after the first spread, I mainly am using the Sanjoki markers and the Ohuhu markers. For some reason, I just didn't even bother with Copics anymore at that point, aside from the little stray ones that I have, not the set. But yeah, and I found that it was pretty interesting. It's such a shame because I love the juiciness of the markers, but once again, whenever it just, because of the paper, it just feels like it sits on top instead of like actually going into the page a little bit and, you know, mixing nicely. It just feels like it sits there. That being said, I did enjoy, like, I was trying to like test out all the different colors, because that marker set is huge. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it might be 300 markers, I don't know, but it is a lot of markers and more than I've ever had before, so I was just trying to like get used to all the different colors that were available and how to best use them. So a lot of the colors that I use in this spread are like I think the warm grays and the cool grays, and like seeing how dark it could go, because I am a little bit wary about using straight up black as a marker. It's the same thing with like using straight up black for painting too. I don't know. I think it's because in like school we were always told to like whenever I took painting in high school, they tell you to like, you know, try to mix the colors and try to get close to black, but never actually just using straight up black. I don't know why. I guess because it can be such a strong color, as opposed to if you just mixed it naturally and you just use different shades and you layered it up. But yeah, I do still use it here in certain areas. Like you can see I use it for Mira's pants and his shoes, and Prism's shoes. But yeah, and then also I kind of want to redo their outfits. Like I want to like reapproach the punk aesthetic again, because I don't know, I feel like I could add a little bit more to it. And if I do other styles that are very similar, like emo, you know, I want to make sure that each one is different. But nevertheless, that is how that spread turned out. I was kind of just like, girl, whatever, I'm just getting it over with. But oh, and I forgot one last thing about if I were to do this sort of like aesthetic dress up series, basically I would do one part where it's the full body of the character or characters, and you can see sort of like what the full outfit would look like in a certain aesthetic. So say emo, for example, you see one of my OCs or fan art of a character dressed up in full emo aesthetic, and then I would do like a portrait version of it as well, because I thought that'd be pretty cool. But once again, another project where I'm making probably too much work for myself, to where it becomes less of a side project thing for fun and more of like a full-time thing that I'm overly invested in suddenly, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm very guilty of that. But we have finally made it to the Christmas spread. Let's go! Merry late Christmas to all of you who celebrate. Happy holidays to the rest, or whatever respective end of year holiday celebration you would like me to say. Yeah, this is a giant spread of my OCs and a little like Christmas attire, like as if my OCs all gather together at the end of the year to do like a Christmas party, which I think is always really fun and cute. What did you guys do for Christmas? How was your Christmas? Because I you know, Christmas Eve felt more like Christmas to me than actual Christmas did. And I think that, I don't know, that might just be how it is, because like that's whenever I tend to actually go see family. That's whenever, you know, I just feel like that time is different than Christmas Day. It was actually like that as a kid too. I think as a kid, it was like Christmas Eve was like the most exciting day because you could always open your gifts at midnight, so as opposed to opening them the next day. But yeah, no, actual Christmas, I spiked a fever of 101 point something. It was like, I think it started out like a low grade fever, and then it kind of kept rising, and then I started feeling like my COVID symptoms coming back from whenever I got it back in September, and I was like, aha, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna lay in bed for the rest of the day. So yeah, I pretty much just like laid in bed and had anime playing all day. Actually, I watched, what is it called? I watched, what is the name? It is Skullface Bookseller Honda-san. Yes, I freaking love that anime. It's so cute, and I am a very like thematic person. I like to do things like on theme or like at a certain time. So because that anime I think ends around like in the actual show itself, it's about like a bookseller guy, right? Like he works at a bookstore, and it's really cute, very like, I don't know, like the episodes are really short, but it's a very feel-good energy, and it's very like funny, and if you've ever worked part-time really anywhere, I feel like it helps capture the chaos, but it's just overall a really good time. Soma Saito never disappoints with his voice acting, so, but yeah, no, I was watching that, and it ends around, like one of the episodes I think ends around like, it has like a Christmas episode basically, and so that's why I wanted to watch it again. So I did that, and after that I had Blue Exorcist playing because I thought their birthdays, like the two main characters, Rin and his brother, who I don't like, no offense, I just that was such an unnecessary dig at him, but I do not like him. The twin brothers, they have their birthday, I thought their birthday was on Christmas, but it's actually like just near Christmas. It's apparently the 27th of December. And I was like, what the heck? Whenever I finally saw the episode, I was like, dude, what a scam. I watched this whole thing. Their birthday isn't even on Christmas. What the heck? But it was still a fun time. I just kind of had that playing while I was dying of my fever and trying to navigate ordering Chinese food for my family, because they decided all of a sudden that that's what they wanted their Christmas gift for them to be. I wanted to take them out to like a nice dinner and things like that, but it just, things kept escalating, and I was like, okay, whatever, whatever you guys want. Yeah, it was a very chaotic time, and at the end of the day I was just trying to like rest and get my fever down. So I took 2 Tylenols and I clocked out, but yeah, Merry Christmas to me, I guess. I did get some gifts throughout the month from like friends and family, and I also still have to unbox my gift, which will actually be a video in the future, hopefully the near future, but yeah, I think it'll be pretty exciting. I've never had one of these before, so I'm really excited, but stay tuned for that reveal, I guess. It's not really that big of a deal, but also if you're concerned if I'm like feeling any better, I am, thankfully. Right after Christmas Day, I seemed to like recover a little bit. Like it wasn't as bad as I thought. I mean, I'm not sure if it was the virus or not. It certainly felt like it at first. I just apparently get like the worst of it compared to other people. Like I get a really bad fever, I start feeling like I'm gonna die, but I'm alive, I'm doing well. So yeah. But back to the giant Christmas illustration. I love doing these joint illustrations with all my OCs in it. It's not something that I've done often, but I do find a lot of joy in it. I was actually doing a more updated version of this. Well, not like redrawing this exactly, but I was doing another Christmas illustration where it's like all my OCs together, because this original spread was done in 2021, like the initial sketch of it and everything. It's 2 years ago. So the one that I was drawing recently was on my iPad, and it just ended up being a doodle. I think I posted it on Twitter, but it never, I don't think I will fully render that out, but it was fun to just like think about it conceptually. And yeah, I would love to do more of these. It's a lot of work to draw a group of people in a photo like this. Like it'd be one thing if I drew them individually and I just stuck them together, like digitally, if I just like had them each on their own layer and I just kind of collided them, but to draft this out like as if it's like a selfie or like a photo or something, it takes a lot of work. But it's something that I want to do more, so hopefully I can get around to doing that, because I don't know, I think it's really fun to see all my OCs bonding together, because they're not all in the same universe, of course, but I think it's really cute to see them join together, and you can see all their personalities whenever they're like with each other. I think it's really adorable. I think I was also thinking about like it'd be a cute postcard thing to send out, you know, especially for Patreon. Well, I would have to first learn how to like mail things properly, which is something that I've meant to do this year, so hopefully I can get around to doing it early next year. But yeah, I think it'd be a cute postcard design to draw my OCs. Not even, it doesn't have to be like a lot of them or things like that. I could break them up into like groups, or it simply could just be one of them, but drawing them in like a certain setting or scenery based off of the time of year, I really love that idea. So yeah, and then we are going to the final spread. I can already tell you right now, I feel like I should have just done this digitally. Well, I mean, I would have still needed to fill out the spread regardless, but I would like to revisit this digitally, because I just kind of winged it on the colors, and that's totally fine. Like, I feel like, it's like I said in the other video when I was doing the line art, I think it makes more sense to just wing it on the colors whenever you're doing like sketchbook illustrations or things like that. Like, it doesn't have to be that well thought out, but I mean, we see with like the first spread compared to this one, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think my judgment for that will get better as I go on, but this is obviously where like digital art is more convenient, because, you know, you can plan things out a little bit more, you can try out different color palettes and go from there. And one thing that helps with color picking for me is to limit my color palette, but I think because I had all these markers displayed in front of me, maybe I felt the need to utilize them. Or maybe, okay, I think it was like I just didn't properly take the time to plan it out the way I should have, because I was just trying to get it over with. Because honestly, I think if I really thought about it more, and if I wasn't as hasty with trying to get it over with, I probably could have come up with something that I liked more. And in my mind, I wanted the background darker, but I wasn't sure if I should commit to it or not, so I just kind of kept it more of like a pastel to mid-toned blue-purple. And another thing is, like, for the background, of course, there's a lot of little elements to go around, and I didn't have the patience for it anymore. Like, I think it's just because, like, worst case scenario, I could just go back and use paint markers to, like, add those little shapes in. Because, yeah, it's like, I don't know, I find I really enjoy paint markers because no matter what you put down, their solid opaqueness allows you to simply, like, go over what you don't like. Because with watercolors, you can use masking fluid or even tape for the places that you want to preserve from getting color on while doing the background. Or if you're using acrylic or gouache, you can always just paint over it. And like, whenever it comes to markers, you have to go around the areas that you want to preserve if you don't want anything on it at all. And that made this very tedious. And as for someone who's rushing, that kind of tediousness, I just didn't have the patience for. Like I said, I gave up. And again, digital art omits this problem because, you know, you could just add another layer. I still think it's important though, because it's a good way to learn problem solving and finding a process for you that works best. These are things that I need to tackle, or at least be aware of. So like I said, no matter what, like no matter how this turned out, I feel like I'm still glad that I went for a more illustrative page, because like I said, that doesn't really happen often for me. And even in this spread, like, I mean not spread, like even in this sketchbook where it's like it was made for you to fill the pages up with color and stuff like that, I tend to like spreads and more just like individual little drawings than like working on an actual illustration, because they intimidate me. you're forced to confront moments like this where you're like, what would be the best way to go about doing this? Like, what would be the best way for me to tackle this? And that's how you build up a process. That's how you learn the best methods to work on pieces, and it's important, you know? I gotta just go for it. Even if it comes out looking like not in any way that you intended, because yeah, in general, I feel like my color choices with this were just not happening. I truly feel like this page was where I genuinely just tried to forget about any salvaging, and I started zooming through sloppily and exhausted. Like, I was like, I can't take it anymore. So yeah, I can't guarantee when I will do the digital redraw of this, but I sure hope that it manifests properly, because I think it was a fun, interesting little piece, and it deserves justice. So I really hope to revisit this. That being said, there's about 2 minutes left before my real-time self jumps back in to close out the video. So I'm thinking for my next sketchbook, I just fully focus on that one instead of working on multiple. Aside from my throwaway sketchbook that I use, I think that would help streamline things a lot more, and I want to see if I can finish something, like if I can finish a sketchbook if I truly hone in on it and work solely on that one. But yeah, is there anything you guys would like to specifically see from me in the future? I mean, I am gonna just continue making whatever I feel like I enjoy, but I do want to work on that a little bit. I actually don't have much planned for the new year yet. Like, it's the 29th and I don't know. Like, I have a general idea, but I haven't done my little yearly reflection and started planning out each little section for art, and let alone my actual life. It's a lot of mental energy, and time's going by so fast. Like, to be honest, I don't think I'm gonna have this grand scheme of goals and aspirations. Like, I want to sit down and plan things out, but I want it to be simplistic and doable and efficient for the things that I want to achieve in the long run. And it also helps to keep in mind that these things don't happen right away, you know? Like, it's not always an overnight process. Growing your skills and growing your audience, it can be, like, it can take anywhere from days to decades, and it's a different journey for everyone, so it's just something to keep in mind. I think I'll talk about the whole, like, year reflection and New Year's resolutions in a January video, because I think, like, that's the best course of action for right now. I'm a little bit scatterbrained trying to get everything done for the end of the year, and I feel like I also need to just rest a bit because I haven't really done that. So yeah, but for the most part, I'm taking it all at whatever pace works best, so. But I think I'm about to wrap things up with my final thoughts about this spread and everything, and then close out the video from there. Thank you guys so much for watching, like, so far. I mean, this isn't like the longest video I've made, but I still feel like, I don't know, I really want to, like, make my content feel a little bit more to my standard, and yeah, but nevertheless, you guys have always been so, like, kind and chill, so I hope you enjoy this video and the next one that comes out, which I still have to edit, so hopefully I can do that quickly after finalizing this video and then go get whataburger and call it a day. And that is all for this voiceover. Okay, and that pretty much completes the coloring compilation. The next step will be to do the final page. I don't feel super excited about how this came out, to be honest. I feel like there was a lot more that I wanted from it. But I don't know. I don't know if I feel compelled to really do anything to push it further than that. I might touch it up a little bit, but I'll do all of the touch-ups that I might do to any of the pages that I worked on today. I will likely do off screen. So yeah, maybe stay tuned to the sketchbook tour to see if this page looks completely different or not. Otherwise, I mean, I can always redo it digitally, but regardless, I don't think it's like the worst thing ever, and I am glad that I pushed myself to do an illustrative page. But yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm going to leave off. Stay tuned for the final part of this little mini finishing my sketchbook series, where I will do the last page, and like I said before, hopefully it'll be a lot more real time, maybe even just me talking in real time as well, like this. But yeah, I will leave you guys here, I guess. So Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed your time here today, please feel free to leave a like. If you're interested to see more of my content, you can always check out my other videos and subscribe. For reference, if you're new, I am Rhea or Etheria, and I like making art and art-related content on my channel. I do try to post weekly videos, but if you'd like more timely updates, you can always check out my other social media linked in the description and also at the end of the video. Oh gosh, until next time, once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Yeah, take care.